that, love, but make it Instagram official. Again, Kaylee Cuoco and Tom Pelphrey just hit the 4-year mark, and yes, they celebrated exactly how you'd expect. Sweet posts, inside jokes, and just enough cheese to keep it real.
And Washington. President Donald Trump extended the U.S. ceasefire with Iran to allow more time for peace talks. With Tehran silent on the decision early Wednesday, Trump indefinitely pushed back the end of the 2-week truce, crediting a request from mediator Pakistan and stressing the need to give Iran's fractured leadership time to form a proposal. But he said the U.S. blockade of Iran's ports, a sticking point for Tehran, would continue.
That oil prices fell along with stocks on Wednesday as investors assessed the chances of US-Iran peace talks after Donald Trump extended his ceasefire at the 11th hour but kept his blockade of the Strait of Hormuz in place. With the 2-week truce in its final hours, the US president said he would push the deadline back indefinitely following a request from mediator Pakistan and stressing the need to give Tehran's fractured leadership time to form a proposal.
And the United States military used up nearly half of its Patriot interceptor missile stockpile during its 7th-week campaign against Iran, according to an analysis by the Center for Strategic and International Studies. CSI, a report by Washington-based outlet Pehel, highlighted significant depletion across several key munitions, citing the CSIS analysis, and raised concerns about Washington's preparedness for a potential conflict with China. And Fatima Fertilizer Company Limited, title sponsor of the Multan Sultans in the Pakistan Super League PSL, hosted an exclusive meet and greet event at Movenpick Hotel, Karachi, bringing together the entire Multan Sultans team and company dealers and the farming community in a memorable evening that celebrated cricket, community and an 8-year partnership built on shared identity and pride. 8 seasons in, and this partnership continues to thrive with each passing year. Reflecting a shared vision, strong collaboration and a deep-rooted connection to the communities both organizations proudly serve. The event brought this partnership to life and giving as Fertilizers dealer network and farming community an up-close experience with their cricket heroes. Attendees interacted with the Multan Sultans team, collected autographs and took photographs with their favorite players. And among the guests were winners of the Sar Sabz Golden Ticket, a farmers' engagement campaign now in its 4th PSL season, through which participants who uploaded photographs with a Sar Sabz bag on Facebook were shortlisted as winners. And the 3 selected farmers were then invited as special guests to the event, where they interacted with and met their favourite Multan Sultans players.
That. Prosecutors in the rape retrial of disgraced U.S. movie mogul Harvey Weinstein told on Tuesday how he wielded his power to prey on then-aspiring actress Jessica Mann Weinstein, a central figure of abuse allegations that spurred the Me Too movement, appeared at the New York City courtroom wheelchair-bound due to ill health. He is being retried on account of third-degree rape against Mann that allegedly happened in 2013 in a Manhattan hotel.
And the courtyard is awash with marigolds. I am told that it has been like this for a few days now. Several episodes of Mirza Ki Here, iDream Entertainment's new drama, which has just started airing on Ari Digital, are currently being shot here, and they revolve around a Shadi Kagar wedding home, which means that the Mayun decor will stay put until the scenes are wrapped up.
That. Australia's internet watchdog raised fears on Wednesday that popular online gaming platforms such as Roblox and Minecraft were being used by predatory adults to target children. The nation's e-safety commission has sent legal notices to a host of the world's most popular gaming platforms, demanding they explain how they are working to stamp out dangerous content.
And Pakistan has agreed with the International Monetary Fund to introduce a new 5-year auto sector policy that will gradually reduce tariffs on vehicle imports as part of trade reforms tied to the country's $7 billion bailout program. And under the planned policy, the weighted average tariff on vehicle imports will be cut from 10.6% to 7.4% over 4 years by 2030, according to a national daily. In the upcoming 2026 to 27 budget, and the average rate is expected to fall to 9.5% as the first step in that roadmap. And it's giving soft launch energy, or maybe just really good timing. Rumors are swirling that Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi have been quietly spending time together. And yes, the internet is already connecting all the dots. And Shanghai, young Chinese, many who fear age discrimination in their workplace after turning 35, are increasingly starting one-person companies that have artificial intelligence do most of the work. Smaller startups are already in vogue in Silicon Valley and elsewhere, with rapidly advancing AI tools seen as a welcome teammate, even as they threaten layoffs at existing firms. And the royal family gathered at Buckingham Palace to mark a historic milestone together in a show of unity in the times of crisis. King Charles and Queen Camilla were joined by Prince William, Princess Kate, and all other senior members of the family. They attended the reception to honour the Queen Elizabeth's 100th birthday. And Pakistan's role as a mediator between warring nations is both unusual and commendable, but after the failed US-Iranian talks in Islamabad earlier this month, there is no guarantee it will pay the desired dividends. At the time of writing, and neither side had showed up for a second round of talks, there was still scope for hope that the recalcitrants would have second thoughts. Iran was understandably miffed when the US attacked and boarded one of its tankers. And it's hardly the kind of action that facilitates peace parleys. But the purported author of The Art of the Deal appears to believe that holding a gun to someone's head is the best way of achieving the aggressor's goals. Not for the first time, and Donald Trump has threatened attacks on civilian infrastructure such as power stations and bridges if no deal is agreed. And we might have been in a different situation had the US reciprocated Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi's conciliatory announcement about permitting all commercial shipping to transit the Strait of Hormuz by lifting its naval blockade. And instead, Trump declared that the blockade would remain until a deal was concluded. Araghchi was overruled by the IRGC, the opening was rescinded, and the squeeze on global oil and fertilizer supplies remains in place. And the global economy could soon be on life support. In the event of an international depression, Trump will no doubt blame Iran, refusing to acknowledge that his idiocy in taking the Israeli bait is the chief culprit. And just a few weeks ago, my colleagues at work were complaining about the challenge of managing their children at home, again, as some children returned to school following their long winter break in parts of the country. On March 9, and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif had announced a 2-week break for schools and a shift to online classes for all higher education institutions, along with many others, and these measures were taken to manage the skyrocketing fuel prices triggered by the US-Israel war on Iran. This is not the only instance in which the government decided to shut down schools. If one reviews the news archives, one can find reports of repeated closures of educational institutions for reasons ranging from security risks to the COVID-19 pandemic, crises driven by climate change and smog. And the school closure announcement was just one instance in a recurring pattern. Despite schools having reopened, there is no guarantee that it will not happen again. And Pakistan's fuel crisis is often framed as global oil prices and question of subsidies, but in reality it is more consequential as a question of strategic foresight, structure fragility and weak statecraft. And this results in domestic inflation, external deficits, currency depreciation and social stress with almost no absorption capacity. Earlier this month, in a single adjustment cycle, the petrol hit Rs 450 and diesel 500 per litre, and headlines blamed Middle East crisis. But in reality, it is a predictable consequence of deferred investment, policy fragmentation, and institutional inertia. And seeks proposals from global consortiums to act as underwriters, lead managers, book runners. selection based on lowest yield, cost, coupon, timing of future issuances tied to market conditions, Islamabad. And a day after raising $750 million through a Eurobond at an interest rate of 6.975% for 3 years, the government on Tuesday invited bids from international consortiums to act as underwriters and lead managers and book runners for future transactions in global capital markets over the next 3 years.
That Islamabad, the Pakistan Telecommunications Company Limited, PTCL, has returned to profitability after more than 4 years and plans to formally launch 5G services next month. PTCL and Ufone Chief Executive Hatem Bamatraf, while announcing the group's financial results for the first quarter, January-March 2026, said revenues had increased by 58% compared to the corresponding period last year.
Islamabad is all set to host the second round of US-Iran talks. But the million-dollar question is, will they go ahead? At the time of writing, uncertainty about the fate of the parleys continued, with no confirmation of Iranian participation. It appears that until the US lifts the blockade of Iranian ports, Tehran's representatives are unlikely to get on a plane to Pakistan.
That Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi have been quietly getting to know each other over the past couple of months, a source has told People exclusively, as speculation about a potential romance between the pair continues to build. They've been hanging out and getting to know each other the last couple months, the source confirmed.
And Paris Jackson and Janet Jackson were absent from the Los Angeles premiere of the Michael biopic on Monday, 20 April, as the film's complicated relationship with key members of the Jackson family played out on the red carpet. Michael's siblings Jermaine, LaToya, Marlon and Jackie Jackson were all present at the event, as was Paris's brother Prince, 29.